I gotta run to dinner.
What
Fuck.
the?
Horrible
What,
timing.
It readjusts
I'll be back.
my model. Oh no, no, I'm off. Wait, am I? Did I move my? Okay, no. One moment. Yeah, back on screen.
Uh-oh.
There we are.
God damn
Hello.
it! Why can't
It's
Kelpie
not Scuff.
Scuffs. Why can Kelpie not
Hello,
just,
everyone.
work for
Welcome back to Bad Fanfiction Night. I am your host, Aaron McNeil. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Twilight Guardian.
Hello.
Big shout out to the Joe that hates for the $500 super chat. Your allowance, bird boy. Thank you so much. At the beginning of the stream, you don't realize it, but you've just actually made possible something that I've been meaning to do for a while. So, that's incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Oh my God! Sugar Daddy just made his dreams come true.
Lovely stuff.
I'm allowed to be appreciative of the people supporting my channel. But I pray for the Scuff, and it works worth every single penny.
Yeah.
Does the money just induce?
Oh, you won't be able to make it for the rest of the stream.
That's what I just said.
Sorry. A lot of people were talking. All right.
Yeah, fair. But sorry that you won't be able to be here, Joe. But hopefully you'll still have fun when you watch the VOD later.
Yeah, hopefully you'll have a blast. So to remind everyone, hello, yes, welcome back. We are reading The Shadow of the Conqueror by Shad M. Brooks, aka SHADIVERSITY. In the last one, we learned that there is a really stupid rule in this setting where if you wear a red band on your arm, you're basically signaling, "Hey, dude, I'm down. I'm down to duel. I'm DTD."
Not the other DTD.
No, sorry, no, DTF. DTF. I'm down to fight.
that could still be like that. No,
yes,
but
that is the joke.
Could still be for like
that is
naughty
the joke.
Activity.
Explaining the joke.
Yes.
You don't have the Discord chat pulled up. You have the announcements.
Stream. Twilight, I need to know your favorite Digimon since you don't have one this stream on your head. I mean, she doesn't.
No, he doesn't allow me to stream for Bad Fanfiction Night because the setup would be too difficult.
Yeah,
but
the setup's
my my favorite Digimon is Aegiomon.
Ooh, nice.
Fact.
Nobody knows who that Digimon is, but he's featured in the new Digimon game that's being developed, and I'm so excited.
Time for donuts. Billy Donuts has arrived.
Yay.
But yes, we also learned last chapter. Well, not learned. We knew this from the chapter prior that the main character is horrifically inconsistent, and I don't know what he even goddamned wants. Like he's like, oh, I was such a horrible monster in my past life. I did all these terrible, terrible things, and I want to repent for them. Never once explaining why exactly he wants to repent for what he did. If he had thought he was in the right the whole time, you typically need a come to God moment where you realize, hey, wait, am I the baddie? But we don't know what that moment was for him. Teddy Bear Paladin, yes, hello, welcome to the stream. I just saw the whole row of teddy bears and shields.
You don't have the VC text chat up. You have the announcements channel up on the screen.
There we go.
What? What the frack?
Oh yeah, you.
Oh.
What?
There we go. My bad. Thank you for
what the fuck is that?
The announcement one for a while.
Robbie's really good for that.
Yes.
He's
Thank you, Robbie, very much.
The annual scuffs.
I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you guys can read. I so many atrocities I built, but I was like, yeah, because he's been making comments regularly as like, yes, I was horrible, but all these other things that I did were absolutely good.
Coin flip.
Oh, Random Phantom has cast Gremlin Giggling to replace normal laughter. I guess we're now required to giggle like gremlins. Or gremlins.
Do you think it was the 10th baby when the fire's like, something's not right here?
Your boy Neptune. I'm busy with a family party, so I'll just leave this here. Guys! I love you, but stop giving us ridiculous amounts of money if you're not even going to be here for the stream. At least enjoy what you're sending money to.
I mean, devil's advocate, like leaving fat stacks of cash as like a I'm a head out present, not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, I'm not complaining about the money. I'm just like, I want you guys to have the entertainment that you're paying for.
Well, it's not like the VODs are going to be private after we stop being live.
But like, being able to, on the fly comment on things, it's part of the fun of a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
You guys,
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. So let's dive into this. Let us all remember the rules now. I and Twy are the priority speakers, which means that if we are speaking, we expect you guys to be quiet. I understand that can be very hard, but if you hear either I or Twilight speaking, we expect you to shut up. Let's see. Also, I mean, we don't mind your quips and comments. We love them. We adore them. But it's that's literally the first time I've heard someone tell people not to give them ridiculous amounts of money. It's called appreciating the people that are actually supporting you, and I find it very. You have to be. There's a level of humility you have to have when the fact that your entire livelihood relies on the kindness of strangers. I don't like looking at a gift horse in the mouth. All right, I like being very kind to the gift horse.
I think people like it when Raymond gets all flustered.
I'm very flustered. I never expected in my whole life to get anything more than a $10 super chat.
Stop
I know, right?
money, Baka.
I was imagining like he fluffs up his feathers like a chicken.
Oh my God, that
You
would
know
be
how or pigeons. Pigeons how they kind of crane their necks in.
Get
Their
Rex, get on
body
it.
just kind of squishes out.
Well, he has the back of the head floof, so like it just goes like straight
Like a
up.
cardinal?
Yes.
Yeah. You can see. I've
Cockatiel?
Really foofy.
I might actually.
He's a phoenix, but he's a cockatiel.
Yeah.
Cockatiel.
Something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly what kind of bird. No, it wasn't based on a cockatiel. It was based on like kind of a vulture type bird.
Vultures don't have feathers on their heads, though.
It looked like a vulture to me. I'll show you the concept art the original artist did of like the actual real looking bird, which honestly I think I've used once or twice. It's just like this hilarious like gag of like super serious Celtic. Like,
damn.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Celtic
about.
Phoenix lore. Love it.
No, it wasn't that. It was like vaguely vulture sized. Which, by the way, I saw a vulture the other day. You don't normally see them where I live, but I just like was driving down the road right outside of my my neighborhood, and it's like, oh, there's just a fucking turkey vulture just sitting there, like waiting for something. They're huge.
Menacingly.
All right.
They're
Well,
starting to eat.
enough talking about the vultures. It is time to duel. I mean, time to keep reading. We left off on the line. Paradin jerked the wagon. So we know we're getting kinky right off the start.
Paradin's jerking wagons?
Bro said duel.
Wagon
I'm
is
dead.
DTF.
But yes, and we're going to go about 20 pages. I think we'll swap about halfway through. I think 9 pages in. It's like there's 18 pages total, so we'll swap 9 pages in. And we'll see where we're at by the end of that, because last time went really freaking fast. But who knows? Maybe this will be really, really stupid really, really quickly. I mean, the whole dueling thing caught us off guard. So
yeah.
Here we go. All right. Paradin jerked the wagon to the left, narrowly missing a man with curly red hair who walked out in front of him. Hey, asshole! Don't try to hit me!
Even though you're like going at like 2 miles an hour, that could still kill someone.
Do you want to be run over, man? Paradin growled over his shoulder as they drove past. How about you watch where you're going, you inbred country idiot? The man yelled back. Paradin's hand swung to grasp his sword and he started to rise, but Dalen put his hand over Paradin's, causing the man to pause.
Oh, he's such a bitch. He's such a bitch.
Sit down, lad, before you get yourself killed. Paradin calmed himself and sat. He was a practiced city duelist, wasn't he? Yes, and that would have been a duel to settle a person dispute against the Gentrin, judging by his curly red hair. He was Gentrin, so what? Dalen sighed. The people of Gentry fight to the death in duels to settle personal disputes. They intend to kill or be killed, and are reluctant to make such challenges as a result, but rarely ever turn them down either. What? Why?
Okay, so how is this
Because they
different
get to
from
kill
the
people.
ribbons?
Apparently it's to the first blood in wherever they are.
It's typically first blood, but these guys are just like, murder time!
To the death!
Oh,
Right out the
I mean,
gate.
technically,
As
you could tell first blood if you stab somebody.
They're really fond of death battle in Gentry.
Yes.
yeah, but they keep going until you're dead.
Also, how does he not know this? Like, this man is really
done his
eager to start
research.
dueling people. You'd think he would learn about the different types of dueling etiquette.
Mm.
I think that'd be,
Because it's
smart.
purely for the benefit of the audience.
Yeah, it's not like you
Fuck
could
you,
just have that
Shad!
relayed to us through description. No harm in that.
Yeah.
Also, to show off how so much of a smart boy the guy is.
Yeah, Dalen
Yeah,
is such a
what
smarty
benefit?
pants for knowing this.
Yep.
Yeah, it could have literally just been his thought bubble being like, wait, I know this type of guy. Right, he'd challenge to the death, wouldn't he? Bad choice, bad choice.
They see it as the only way to determine a victor. The only proper way to determine a victor. Duels to the first blood don't determine who would have won the fight as real. If the fight was real, there's many cases where you can take a cut and still win. As with grabbing your opponent's blade. Specifically just that, though. Just that. Weirdly specific circumstance. I suppose that makes sense. But Light, fighting to the death over a small altercation. He wouldn't have challenged you over what just happened, but you were about to challenge him. Oh, Paradin said embarrassedly. Exactly. I know you better and you are a dumb fuck. You would think foreigners would have adopted the practice of the land they're in. Death happens often enough in Hamran duels, but not intentionally. Shading foreigners. Dalen huffed. Oh, you can't say that. That's a racisms. You can't go saying that. Sorry, Paradin. You're
With
canceled.
the hard ass.
yeah, I'm sorry, Paradin. You're getting literally all your good points.
Cancel culture
knocked.
wins again.
Also, hi, Kaiser.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Came back from my party.
Grabbing your opponent's blade versus the Chad. Yes.
Just biting it.
Zoro's the ultimate Chad in this debate, then.
Oh, yes.
Dalen huffed, looking at Paradin from the corner of his eye. Because the farmer had grown up in the country, he had so little contact with people from other lands. The world was a very big place, filled with different peoples and cultures, many of which could be seen here in the city. The blood-red hair of Frey and Gentry could be spotted regularly. The brown skin and bright yellow hair of the intellectual Terusian people walked into view as well, many showing off far more skin than the local Hamhrans thought modest. The dark blue hair and olive skin of Maine was common, and the purple hues of Dacia's two nations could also be seen. Daemony and Delavi went about in their high-collared, form-fitting suits and dresses, helping identify them from the other nations to have citizens with purple hair. And the Leon... Shad! Stop! Fucking stop! I can't keep track of all of this.
Wait. Did you miss?
Overdoing world
That is 5 fucking races thrown at me in quick succession, and like none of them are distinguished beyond what they look like, which I don't have ready access to. It's a book.
No,
Shad.
listen. No, listen. He's trying to compensate for the racism he committed earlier, so he has to prove how not racist he is by showing how many different ones he can make up.
He's got enough races for
If
Mario.
anything, that makes it worse.
You need to know about these races. What the fuck now? We need to know right now. Exactly. It's like, dude, just introduce. Like, we've already introduced one character who's a Terusian. All right. I didn't even remember what a Cherusian was. Like, and that was a character that has a name and like an actual personality to them.
Yeah.
Even though it's all still your voice. Like, you don't have to do this so instantaneously, just blunt force trauma.
Yeah, spread them out a bit, you know?
Also,
and it would.
you could like let us learn about these cultures through characters who show
That
these
is literally what
different
I just said.
understandings. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
No,
I mean, good
agree with
idea
him harder,
nonetheless.
guy. Agree with him harder.
Daemony and
What?
Daemony and Delavy went about in their high-collared, form-fitting suits and dresses, helping identify them from the other nations to have citizens with purple hair, the Leontes, who were rare in these lands. But it was hard to miss a person from Leonta when they did appear, due to their exceptionally long hair tied in elaborate braids with their native robes, tan skin, and brown eyes. Because as we all know, every single race is a monolith, and they will always dress exactly like one another to a fault. Though
Yeah,
Dalen
because-
didn't see anyone from the countries of Mache, Xantium, Tolson, Orden, Endra, and Lorraine, chances
How many
were...
do you need to name?
I'm not going to remember any of this, Shad.
I'm just going to emphasize,
Anyone
until
else?
these groups are relevant, I don't care about them.
Same.
I'm waiting for Yako to start listing off the other countries.
Too bad they'll be on the quiz.
What's funny is that
Ugh.
according to Shad,
Are
he
these
says that
on your
his
goddamn
world building
map?
is the
One
most
minute.
important.
I'm
Like
going to do something. Scroll all the way back up
Shad
to the map.
says that his world
Oh my
building is the
God,
only thing he gets
are you
complimented
scroll-
most about.
Don't worry,
Oh
I
no,
can get
he
back
is. He actually is.
quickly. Okay, so we're up here in Hamhara.
Forgot I had a map.
Talking about Frey, Xantrum. So he literally named all of the major fucking locations in his setting simultaneously. Which just goes to show how fucking small this world is.
Oh wait, he
Yeah.
forgot one.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, that is a good point. If he spaced
one
it
of-
out, it would make it seem bigger.
it's one of my issues with a lot of fantasy settings is that their worlds, Ruby's a good example of this, but Final Fantasy is very much a victim of it too. Their worlds are tiny. That's why when I was developing Vault Finder, my main goal was, okay, this is a world the same size as Earth. I gotta populate that. And it was a huge challenge. And even then, it's one of those really, really difficult things because I only gave blurbs to every single location. Not even I know everything in the setting. I just know I'm going to discover it as I go.
Same with me and my world. Like I made it an Earth-sized world. I'm mostly focusing on a single country and
Yes.
all of the subgroups within that country, but there are people who are from other countries who come into it due to the plot and stuff. But even then, like I have to figure out all of this interconnected shit that goes on between these countries and between these subgroups and all that kind of stuff. It's
Like,
very
how do these-
complicated.
Like, how do these nation states like interact? Have there been wars, trade deals, the whole 9 yards?
If I could pose the question just real quick, isn't the world also feeling small because of just the level of technology that they have in terms of like how the super powered wagons and skyships?
No,
I mean,
no.
skyships are
Because
way
you can still have a huge, massive world. Like, our world is fucking huge. It's gigantic when you really try to comprehend it. Like, you get into an airplane and fly over anywhere, and you start to realize, hey, that neighborhood that you pass by on your drive, that's like 200, 300 houses. Each house has a family of 4 on average. So, like, you multiply that. You're talking about in one single neighborhood, you're talking somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 people. That's mind-boggling to the human condition. We are not built to really comprehend a certain level of scale. So
Damn straight.
I mean,
We're supposed to be
Yeah.
threshing wheat and dying of smallpox.
But, technically speaking, yes. Like, that is like how our bodies and our minds are built. But like our society has evolved past that, probably to an unhealthy
society
degree.
grew far too fast.
Yes.
Yeah. So when God eventually like shows back up, we're gonna have some words about the fact that he did not finish his like
But- But yes, to finish my point is the world can be huge, and you only need to focus on a small section of it. You don't need to just make the entire world this one monolith that you can immediately know everything about in the span of like a couple of books. You can make it so that it's an infinitely sprawling world, but you only really need to focus on certain small aspects. It's fine. It's okay. I get really annoyed with such small world building. Anyway,
Yeah.
Real quick.
Heck, most of these nations could have been put on other floating islands.
That too. They have airships, so why not? Though Dalen didn't see anyone from the countries of Maquet, Xantium, Tolson, Orden, Endra, or Lorraine, chances were that there were at least one person from those lands somewhere in the city. The people of Asbanadar were another story. His strongest ally during his rule, their isolation since his downfall made the Leontes look sociable by contrast. Yet even with the mix of nationalities, green was by far the most prominent hair color in Treremain. Hamharan blue coming in second, and eye colors ranging from amber to coal brown. The rich stood out amidst the crowd. Their dress said it all. The men with their clean, prim, and proper tailed suits with fine cravats and top hats, the women with their laced and frilly dresses and parasols. Both sexes wore finely made swords. Those women who wore hoop skirts or other wide dresses had an opening at their hips for a one-handed sword scabbard to slide through, so it wouldn't swing and tangle with their dresses, and swept hilts of their swords sat like ornamental baubles at their side. Some women instead carried long swords with parasol scabbards that rested on their shoulders, a combination of function and fashion. I'm so glad this entire world is so heavily sword-bent. See, this is also another problem, is that like
Where's my spear
everyone is armed. That's not how at all it would have ever been. At most,
Sounds like America to me.
America
but swords.
Ironically,
Australia.
a Australian made this.
No,
It don't matter.
It's because he loves weaponry and he is a weaponry fanatic. That's the reason why. As opposed to any like historical understanding of how society works. Typically, people wouldn't be walking around with their swords out. Typically, that'd be a limited thing. Open carry is not like common like it is in America. And in America, people don't typically exercise open carry. It's not as common as like
Here in England,
we
you
joke
can't
about
have
it,
any
but
sort of weapon.
anyway, Isa says, why the hell is he listing all the countries' nations? Is he trying to tease us with other settings later on in the series if his book would get more than this? Is he going to write more than this? You keep telling me that there's not going to be another book, but is that just because this one was so bad that he doesn't want to write another one? Or
I mean, it's been like 7 years already.
Has it been 7 years?
Yeah, probably use ChatGPT to write it.
No, he didn't use ChatGPT. I know that the guy is obsessed with AI, but he did do this before AI got really big and before he went down the AI rabbit hole. So this,
I was just making it
as bad as it is, it's all him.
Yeah, this came out in 2019, I think.
Talk about 2017, 2016, that time range.
Again, I was joking.
No, yeah, we got you.
Joke's on us, then.
The dress said it all. They wear the ribbon, Paradan said, disgruntled, while looking at a couple of wealthy dandies. But they're probably duelists, like you say. Not those two! The tassels aren't long enough! Then why aren't they afraid of being targeted for a few easy beads? Light, I could challenge one of them right now if I wanted to. They both would have trained in the best schools in the city has to offer, so don't go thinking they're pushovers. Apart from what they have, very little to fear of being challenged by a serious duelist if they're from a wealthy enough family. Why is that?
That's not how that is not how that works. Like if you're like walking around with like tons of shit, you bet your ass someone's gonna run you for your foams.
I'm not even gonna challenge you to a duel. I'm just gonna stab you and say we dueled. It's kind of a problem with the dueling culture.
You really stabbed me in the chest, bruv.
Alen's worst crime is increasing their J's.
I mean, he already established there's an entire group whose main thing is dueling people to the death already, so...
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, it could just say, oh, we were just dueling to... That's also another thing. Like, if you're in the land and they have certain laws about these things, if you won, if you have witnesses that say, hey, you won this duel because you did first blood, and then this guy still ran you through trying to kill you, that's attempted murder, and the guy should be arrested. Like, there's no world building that's being explained on how this interacts, because culturally speaking, you would have different laws coming into effect that needs to be accounted for.
All I gotta say is oh god.
They can have healers officiating matches, so why aren't all matches required to have a healer officiating so that no random murders happen and someone say, oh no, it was just an accident during a duel?
Because
I was about to say, there should be like judges all over the place.
I've accidentally stabbed the healer. I'm sorry. I'm going to
That would be a instant disqualification.
It's
Maybe
strategy.
to say you dueled, just say the guy was committing a crime on you. That's a legal thing in this setting. You can kill motherfuckers and say, okay, no, Moopa, don't spoil for us that that's a thing.
No spoilers.
Yeah, I understand people are excited to try and talk about the book, but you can't spoil it because I want to be angry at that stupid fucking thing.
All I gotta say is this place better not have any schools.
I post on my my magical Instagram, and I'm just like, I'm oiling up a sword. I'm just like, don't come to school tomorrow. You're chilled. Oh, sorry. I need to clarify. Don't come to school tomorrow if you are
don't come to column lot.
Oh god! If we didn't get these
not
monetized.
Camelot, column lot, like column lot.
Oh man!
That's there it is, column lot. Anyway,
yes.
They wear the ribbon.
Are drive-by stabbings a thing then?
on the steel.
Let's just assume yes, because it's funny.
I mean, honestly, throwing a spear from a moving wagon is actually a pretty badass way to kill someone. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Witness me. Okay. Why is that? The family will just hire a number of duelists more skilled to challenge the winner in reprisal, making sure to knock him down the list. Or, okay, but hear me out. You kill the person, and then you take off the ribbon so you can't be challenged anymore. That's rot, Paradin said. How is a man supposed to learn the sword if he can't join the serious duels? I suppose we should teach children to swim before they can walk while we're at it. What?
Can't babies hold
This
their breath?
there is so much fuckery going on with this dueling system. Why are you equating it to swimming? Most people will go their lives without having to draw a fucking blade, my friend.
Yeah.
I think in the sense of this setting, it's so ubiquitous everywhere. But he's asking, like, why don't you just teach them? Why don't you teach newbies how to do something very complicated from the get-go? And he's saying, why the fuck would we teach them to do a complicated thing when they first need to know the basics?
Lupa's right.
Not very well explained, though.
Babies do get taught how to swim all the time.
Better analogy would be something like, why don't you teach a acrobatics person how to do a triple backflip before teaching them how to front flip?
That got really wordy, and it wasn't just because you stumbled at the very beginning there.
I'm just gonna say, there's a reason
that's a rib, by the way. That's not. I'm not. Don't take it personally.
I'm more apologizing for how wordy it got, not.
I'm just gonna say, in regards to dueling as a whole, there's also a reason this kind of falls out of favor with polite societies, because when you can just go around killing each other, it tends to create a lot of corpses. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I am the rare person that I wouldn't mind if dueling came back, because there's a lot of people that need that fuck around and need to find out. But
bring dueling back.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
but it needs to be
absolutely.
properly regulated, motherfucker. It needs to be like, you need like officiants, you need proper formatting, you need a lot to go.
Yo,
into
stand
making
your
sure it's
ground
fine.
laws need to be federal.
I
we
will
duel with
say,
No.
fun fact, dueling is still technically legal in Canada. It's just that nobody has done it since the 1800s.
Oh my god.
Well, try when I visit you. We'll find someone. Wait, Lily Orchard is Canadian, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
she
am I bringing a white glove?
Up growing hand.
Although I gotta be
Just
careful. I hear she can use her chin as a fucking impromptu bludgeon.
Wait. Twilight's jawline is that sharp?
No.
Oh fuck!
Lily
I
Orchard.
miss.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, C Diddy.
What is this?
All right.
No
Okay.
Diddy, man. No Diddy.
All right. I apologize. I definitely misheard that.
Wow.
Challenge Lily Orchard the next time you go to Canada. We both know she needs to be. That's exactly what I'm saying. Anyway.
I volunteer.
Oh no.
Not those two. Let's see. We're learning more about this fucking system. It's so awful. Best
I hope it comes
schools.
back.
That's rot. I suppose we should teach children this one. Paradise sniffed and said no more, directing the wagon through the streets and constantly braking for the people crossing in front of them. It was a slow process of continuous stopping and starting, which is why it was so much better to fly across the city in a sky coach or dory. As they neared the skyport, the road widened to 30 meters abreast with hundreds of other vehicles, packed side to side, many being darkstone-powered platforms floating a meter from the ground bearing great loads. A rare smile crossed Dalen's face as he gazed up. There were as many skyships above as there were vehicles below, queuing to enter the port or flying out of the city. Beautiful machines. There were many different designs among the ships, each a specific model produced by a different manufacturer, but they all had distinct similarities. Skyships mostly had flat bottoms for their landing supports, and to accommodate the flat slab of darkstone that made up their core. The entire ship was fixed to that core by strong iron bracing. These bracings could be bolted through to large beams of timber, which made up the rest of the ship's frame. The sides of most ships sloped inward, so that their weight would rest more securely over the cores. They were sleek and aerodynamic, and looked somewhat like upside-down boats with larger rears, akin to a sea galleon. So, what you described before, you just described it again.
Why we get?
Why did we
Why?
need a second description of the same thing?
Yeah, is it
Why?
going to be
Just
relevant
why?
now, I hope? It took nearly an hour to move the 100 remaining meters into the port. Well, great. I'm glad we got that description, completely relevant to what's
Lovely.
going on.
If we had to sit through this twice and Shad doesn't have a sword duel on the boat, I'm gonna go fucking ballistic.
I
need a
have
boat
enough
on the
faith in him to know that he
side.
would take advantage of that because he'd think it looked cool.
Yeah.
The skyport was a massive expanse within the city, comprising hundreds of rectangles that sat a good 2 meters lower than the paved ground surrounding them. Piers would extend into the rectangles along their broad sides, making separate docking bays for the ship where they could load and unload passengers or cargo. The larger rectangles accommodated larger ships. Because that needed to be said.
Yeah, I mean, and after all of that, I still can't visualize what that looks like.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck I'm
Congratulations.
trying. Like, is it like an inverse of the Holocaust Memorial in Germany, where it's like a bunch of
What the fuck?
Well, it's because it's one that it's like okay, a bunch of squares in the ground, but like that one has them going up and this one has them going down. Like they're indents? I don't know. I guess they park at ground level in the squares, and then people get off on them.
Okay, just say that it's like
Just
like,
call
I don't
them
know,
bays. Call them
bays
bays.
or like dry docks.
Yeah, a dry
we're
dock
going
would be a
with-
great description. Excellent.
Yeah, because I mean, you described the
A
airships
dry dock
already as being
indented
boat-like.
into the ground, providing enough space for the boat to actually float down to ground level. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, that's like actually an easier description. Why'd you make it
Yes.
so fucking complicated?
Could have just said it
Shad
came
effect.
into land.
I guess he did call them bays.
I would like to say again,
That's my bad.
Shad takes much pride in the world building of this book.
But I still find his explanation freaking confusing.
You should have shame.
Most of the skyships in port were carriers and cargo ships, but there were even a couple of runners. There were 1 or 2 trawlers and some whalers too. It was odd for them, being so far inland, but bringing goods inland meant Skyfish would sell for a better price, and all it cost them was a little more travel. Dalen didn't see any military ships. All these rectangles make a circle. Thank you, Alex Tatakai.
All
Never
these
seen
squares
so
make
many
a
ships in my life, Paradin said. They're amazing. They are indeed, Dalen said. Man has yet to surpass the magnificence. He pulled his eyes from the large cargo ship as they were passing, 10 stories high and 50 meters long, to look at Paradan. Lad, would you do me one last favor? Light, Dalen, of course. Clearly Paradan was still in a good mood from Dalen's gift. I need you to find me a carrier headed to one of the cities along the Dawn Gulf. Dinnerholm, Talatale, or Lightsome should do. Don't worry, Paradan said, pulling the wagon to a stop and hopping off. I'll find you a ship. It didn't take long. Paradan returned and drove them to a particular carrier on the side of the port, headed to Talatale. You have a ride back, don't you? Paradan asked as they arrived at the pier. I've organized everything that's needed, Dalen said. Now, can you help me off? I don't know you well enough, Dalen. I'm sorry. I can't. No. Never mind. Paradan's like, I can do more if you like, Paradan said, looking to the ship.
Oh god. No.
That's just poor timing with my joke. Or the best timing.
Boy.
Someone put the funny song. Someone put the funny song.
Which one?
Dalen gazed down the long pier and forced himself to swallow his pride. That would be appreciated. With Paradan's support, Dalen made his way to the carrier. Thank you for your help, Paradan, Dalen said. Paradan nodded, letting go of Dalen. I'll see you when you get back. After all, I need you to teach me some of your swordsmanship. Dalen didn't want to disappoint the man, so he lied. I look forward to it. Inevitably condemning this man to being disappointed in the future anyway.
Because the guy's going to learn the old man off the cliff.
Just say, depending how things go, I might not make it back. I might be busy elsewhere.
Yeah.
All this info belongs
Just
to
say,
an
I may
eyewitness
just
book.
die.
All this an
Just saying
eyewitness
no
book?
promises.
What's an eyewitness book?
It's a nonfiction series.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well.
No clue.
Question. 100 ruby men versus one average grim gorilla. The gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla.
Have you seen the men in ruby?
Unless someone
Ain't
has
making
a
it.
good semblance, gorilla.
Yeah, no way.
Well, wait,
But
do
what
they
if-
have weapons?
What,
It
but
doesn't
what
matter.
if they all
No.
have the sniper rifle that was used to kill Harambe?
Not even 1,000 ruby men would
Oh.
stop the gorilla.
Oh no.
Oh my! You know, I just realized I live in the city with that rifle. That's like a holy artifact.
You just realized.
Well, no, I mean, like, I reference Harambe all the time, but I just realized that, like, wait, no, the rifle still exists. They wouldn't have gotten rid of it. There was no reason to.
Why would they
Yeah.
put that in a fucking museum?
They put that in like a sacred temple.
Yeah, we need a
Like-
a temple
Yeah,
for like
the
an
Temple
unholy
of Harambe.
artifact. It
At
is
this point,
the
it's like
rifle that
it's-
changed destiny.
It's this. It's
Okay,
okay,
at first-
Jesus.
Can you imagine, like, the
Green
world goes
numbers.
to shit, it's an apocalypse, I go raid the Cincinnati Zoo, and I'm just like, ah, yes, my weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse is a sacred weapon. It has created this paradigm in which we live. I give you the Harambe Slayer.
Yeah.
God, it's so
So I give you the full
That's
freaking
all
Dragon
about-
Slayer illustration from Brazil.
I call it the Harambe. Oh.
Somebody make that into a movie.
Or an animated
It would
comic.
be in it would be in such bad taste, but it would loop around to being like hilarious.
Oh, wait,
The main
wait,
antagonist is the
Giant
adult
movie of
kid.
Cocaine Bear.
It's Harambe's kid coming to chase down the kid that fell into the pit. All right, here we go. Paradin left and Dalen purchased his ticket, first class, considering this was his last flight he wanted. Considering this was his last flight. All right, something about commas. Paradin left and Dalen purchased his ticket. Semicolon. First class. Period. Capital C. Considering this was his last flight, he wanted to enjoy himself. And checked. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm fucking up. This is a weirdly structured sentence. Why did you do it this way?
Yeah, no.
That would be it'll be parenthesis. First class, parenthesis, considering this is the last flight he wanted to. And then checked in his Darkstone.
Okay, chances high that spell checked sussed this out, but he just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
No, I just think he didn't understand what he was doing there.
His editor thought of this.
All right, that works too.
You pretend that he had an
Definitely
editor.
okay.
I was there an editor credited on this book?
That's what I'm aware
I
of.
hope not.
I don't think so.
I hope
Is
this
there such
was
a
committed against as few people as possible.
Yeah, I get that vibe. But also, is there such a thing as a ghost editor?
Yes.
Oh dear goodness.
Basically, you just pay someone extra and they don't have to put their name on anything. Unless, and sometimes editors can be just like, I don't want to put my name on this. I'll edit it for you after the pay, but like I'm not going to put my name on it. Like you can have
According
that
to
too.
Google, there is no editor.
They're just undead.
That's a great page. Do you think Shad hired an editor or not? Yeah. Everyone can click the X.
Does he hire an editor for his own videos?
I don't know, actually. I think one of his who he works with is the editor.
He had an editor, but I know that he left. He tried to say in the nicest way it wasn't because of Shad. But we don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. But yeah, he did have one. I think he has another one too.
It was Shad. It was 100% Shad.
Allegedly.
Shad is a big proponent of self-editing. He has a video up on his channel about it. Oh, yeah, no, he made my mistake with my first book.
Yep.
Yep.
And I kicked your ass about that, didn't I?
Yep, and my second book came out a lot better for it.
Yep.
Behold,
I would not
the
be
holy
willing
relic
to
that
edit
killed
my own book
Harambe!
if I ever did one.
Holy shit, lightning! What the fuck?
Once again, on timing. That's our boy.
Also, good use of an Ava.
All right, here we go.
Dog, I need this as my background.
There was a very good cause for skyships to check in all the Darkstone. With the speed at which skyships flew, if someone were covered a piece of Darkstone from light while in flight, the stone would instantly stop its movement through space. The ship would still be moving forward, making it seem like the stone shot backwards, where it would rip through the entire ship and any poor soul in its way.
What the fuck? It just stops inertia?
Wait, so literally
Yeah,
the
that's
rock
what the
becomes
island's like.
spatially locked if not affected by sunlight. Am I reading that
God.
correctly?
Oh, somebody hit a magic.
Okay,
Oh my
a minute.
god, somebody.
They don't.
I Moopa, or I know I'm gonna have to
war
tell you.
crimes.
Moopa, you've read this, yes? Darkstone are literally spatially locked, yes. Okay. Holy shit!
What the god just hit this
See,
rock with a
how is he
tool gun?
carrying
Every
it?
single island floats
What
using
happens
these
on a
things.
cloudy
These
day?
are the island floaters.
With this one
just
little
wanna
trick, I
say-
can commit a war crime.
I mean, I can understand a cloudy day not really affecting anything because sunlight still comes through clouds.
From the
That's why
underside.
whenever it gets cloudy, we aren't in pitch darkness. But still,
Certain dark
Like, it's a
zones
cool
is what
concept,
keeps
I'm not gonna lie,
these
but-
islands
And that's right,
floating.
they-
I'm
they
surprised
don't
no one's,
have night.
Made a super weapon.
Night is a like seasonal occurrence effectively, or like, you know, generational. So I fucking hell, man, that's terrifying.
Okay, all I'm gonna say is that somebody hit a magic rock with the tool gun.
Yeah.
Dalen looked over the ship.
It takes place in
Someone cast a
Gmod.
mobile object.
Dalen
Guys.
looked over the ship as the tollman helped him aboard and smiled. He was so much closer to what he desired more than anything else. So much closer to his death. Bam, bam, bam. We knew that. Anyway, Twy, you are up.
Sure. The Denwind, a Lightspeed model carrier produced by the Hammond Light Incorporated, flew through the air with remarkable silence. Only the slightest hum from the passing wind could be heard, which was amazing for Dalen. For Dalen knew a Lightspeed could reach speeds of 500 kilometers per an hour. It was mind-boggling. Once, it would have taken 18 falls for an army to march the distance he was now traveling in 2 hours. 2 hours. These falls, the far-off exotic lands, weren't nearly as unreachable. Light. The world had become a smaller place. Unlike Paradin's wagon, which used normal daylight to push the Darkstone, skyships and large sunstone hubs were fixed all around their Darkstone core, called drivers, which inbuilt magnifying lenses they provided much greater control and, of course, much greater speeds thanks to the more intense and focused light. Being only 2 hours, the trip seemed over all too soon when Dalen felt the ship start its descent. It had been a comfortable flight, having traveled in first class, and he had savored everything, from the glorious views to the familiar soft hum of the wind outside. Once at the edge of the city's airspace, there was a brief wait as the ship queued in line to pay the entry tax for one of the floating registry stations. Any skyship that wanted to enter a city's airspace had to be marked on the registry, a procedure Dalen himself instituted. They would then pass through the city's shield net.
Yet another thing that he did right.
Oh my god, he invented TSA. I hate him even more now.
I mean, to be fair, yeah.
The ship
my
moved
homies
again and gently came into the dock. The door was opened and the gangplank lowered. The passengers began to file out, and Dalen waited until last, not wanting to fight the crowd. Getting to his feet was like trying to crank a rusted pump. He managed, barely. The toll man handed him his box. "Do you need any help in the city, old one?" He was a Lorian, with their characteristic sky blue hair, reddish-brown skin, big lips, and impressive height. "I'll manage," Dalen said.
Oh, a minute.
But your help down the gangplank will be appreciated.
Izanagi says, "I'm sorry, how the F are their ships faster than the current Shinkansens? Fastest Shinkansen is 320 kilometers per hour. This ship is around 50% faster? What the fuck?" Well, obviously, Izanagi, you're not accounting for the fact that they have stones that can become spatially locked if you decide to throw a blanket over them.
Also, we said Lightspeed earlier.
Wait, that's all it takes?
It just removal of sunlight. So all you have to do is put it in a fucking box, and suddenly you have a thing that is stuck in space. You could literally just hold the box up in the sky, drop the Darkstone into it, close the lid, and the box would just stay levitating off the ground so long as the clasp held.
Yeah, so wait,
that's like a torture method by making people swallow him.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Okay, sir, you need to be put on a list for thinking that up.
You're
Or
more
get
inventive than Shad. I'll say that much.
That is awful because then the person would have to actually maneuver it out of themselves regardless, because someone couldn't maneuver
It's
it.
a really sick, twisted game of that one British game show where you like rode a rod through a wire.
It's more like that jump scare game that you have to, where you angle like the cursor through the tunnels, and like you can't touch the sides. And when you get to the end, you get jump scared by the scary face lady.
Yeah,
it's like that, but you're doing it with your throat.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you don't technically have to even swallow it. You just have to, like, close your lips with it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying if it's a torture method.
Right,
Yeah, I was
right.
gonna say, like, if
It's
somebody
getting
makes you
forced down their stomach.
Or
When
up
did we switch
where
to
the sun don't
metrics?
shine.
Yeah. which would make it
He's
worse.
Australian. They use them.
You literally have
I
to
meant, like-
pivot around it on your ass while it's. Oh god.
Yeah, that would be painful.
Worst colonoscopy ever.
I have a question for you, son. Have you ever shat upwards?
Random bit of light.
It may be me overthinking this, but with the right amount of engineering, you could pretty much just make a grappling hook that swings off anything.
Probably yes. And yeah, Titan Executor, exactly that.
Spider-Man, but with light stones or whatever.
Is Raymond the dagger in that team up? Because I'm not sure he could pull off her outfit. Excuse you, I would look sexy as fuck in that outfit.
Oh my god, what a thing to undeafen to.
He likes to cosplay every single Tuesday.
Wait, what? You're adding lore on top of lore. What?
Exactly what I said.
I don't cosplay.
Damn, bro. So this is where all the money goes?
No, but I am looking into a Kenshin cosplay because
I mean, that is fair. That is pretty base.
Nice.
Surprised it's your time to read again, Twy? Caught off guard by that?
No. I was drinking.
Oh.
We should all be drinking with this fucking story.
I already
know,
got my
right?
beer.
It's a little late for me.
The tollman did so and bid farewell, returning to the ship. Being an edge city, Talatale trading in skyfish and whale mostly, though the man with half a nostril could figure that out. Okay. Luckily, the edge winds would periodically blow away the sharp scent of fish and blubber. As was common, the skyport sat in the middle of the city. Not that they were built in the middle, just that once built, the cities often grew around them. They were the centers of trade and commerce. By the look of it, Telltale's port was too small for the city's trade, Dalen noted. There would likely be no other smaller ports placed throughout in an attempt to compensate.
They really should have built the docks in stacks,
Dalen thought to himself, but such a thing took foresight and planning. To put stacks in the docks now, they would have to shut parts of them down, which would cause a lot of issues for the city's commerce, because literally no one, except for him, is an engineer.
He's the smartest boy.
That is amazing, Lightning.
Thank you,
Lightning. I applaud you.
Once again, our boy is on timing.
I love it.
Oh, we just saw that.
Well, I'm just glad that Twilight isn't in blackface right now. That's the thing I'm most happy about.
Quick, Lightning, you need to make a new edit.
No!
This time with the Kelpie. With the Kelpie.
Hey, I'll give her a pass.
Don't worry, Trudeau's not the Prime Minister of France.
Also, Mufa is absolutely correct. One must wonder why the skyfish aren't found on. They're only found on the edge of the continent instead of, all over the goddamn place where there's air and shit. It's like,
Yeah, because they can fly.
Then why not?
A skyfish
Yeah, that
gone
is
to
a
the
good
window
point.
again.
Also, how do you go sky fishing? Did you just toss a net?
Probably.
No, well, actually, yeah, probably. No, that makes sense.
Oh, that's what the defense
Dalen-
nets are for.
Dalen found himself on a dock near the industrial part of the port, and from there he could see a few sky whales being skinned at that very moment. They were massive creatures, the size of a skyship carrier, with broad pointed flaps on either side that stretched the length of their flat bodies. This gave them a stretched diamond shape, the flaps enabling them to steer as they fell through the endless skies. Dalen pulled his eyes away, ignoring the sudden urge that he had to eat a nice whale steak. He wouldn't be able to stomach the meat anyway. Light, he was sick of broth. Though Talatale was an edge city, it was still at least a kilometer away from the rim. Luckily, in cities, and especially their ports, hand-pulled rickshaws were everywhere, including along the raised pathway where the Denwind had docked. The rickshaw pullers would have known a carrier was coming beforehand. Even with the new public transportation buses, the rickshaws were still around. They could get to places that skyships couldn't. The rickshaws could have been powered by darkstone. Oh shit! My headphones died.
Oh no!
By a darkstone pusher like Paradin's wagon. But that would have been a waste for a small two-seater. Oh, there were two-seated darkstone carts around, but they were rare for a darkstone pusher. Sorry.
You okay there, Twy? I mean, I know your headphones died, but like you're slowing down.
Yeah, because I was trying to pay attention to see whether or not I could hear from my headphones. So I was
heard myself.
reading. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
For Darkstone Pusher could power a large wagon just as well. Besides, a basic pusher cost about 100 grams, too much for a rickshaw puller, as the trade was increasingly being taken up by poorer classes. Dalen hobbled over to one of the rickshaw pullers, a young lanky man with an all too happy smile. "Where is you going, Grandpa?" the dirty runner asked, speaking in a low-born mine accent. His dark blue hair a mess.
To the edge,
Dalen said. "The edge?" the runner said, looking aghast. "Can I take you around the city, or you is better off catching a coach if you're heading out?" Dalen didn't want to explain that once he managed to climb into the blackened thing, he didn't want to have to climb out of it only to get into another one. This journey was already taking its toll. "Who cares? You're dying!"
Well, I think he's more like,
Literally
I
just
won't
saying,
be able to
"No,
drag my
well."
corpse to the edge of the fucking world.
Just took some Adderall.
I'm fine with him being like annoyed by this and just being like, look, I'm not. At some point, my body is going to give out, and I want to die on my own terms. So, can I just get here, please?
That is fair.
There's a cestus in it.
there's a cestus in it for you.
For that. The man's eyes widened. "No, Grandpa, that's too much." Dalen sighed. Only a man for man would haggle against himself.
Fine, you set the price.
4 dozen 5. That was only 5 grams less, so clearly this man didn't object to Dalen's generosity as much as he lets on. He just had to make a show of it. Damned mannish.
Done. Now you can help me into this blackened thing.
Racism.
The runner, whose name is Leb, helped Dalen into the rickshaw.
Much obliged, Leb,
Dalen said, feeling rotten. The bumpy trip hadn't helped his condition. He threw Leb the cestus.
You can go. I'm done with you.
Grandpa, we said 4 and 5, not 50.
I don't have change. Consider it a fee for helping me off.
I'd be a bucket's rag if I charged so much for helping you like that.
No one will hear it from me.
Leb glanced about the grassy edge side as the strong wind made a mess of his hair. "There's nothing here, Grandpa. I thought you were wanting to take you to the Edgeside Inn or Levenfall, a little village half a step that a ways."
This is exactly where I want to be.
"How you getting back? I can't wait for you if you like."
Don't need it. I've made plans.
"But Grandpa..."
Off with you, you bloody sunspot, before I kick you up the ass.
Leb jumped back, looking dejected, and, after a slight pause, took his cart and began jogging away. You know, all the NPCs are like very nice people, if not maybe a little bit stupid.
Yeah, they're all like really well mannered, and I think there's a contrast of like, if they knew I was the evil guy, they wouldn't treat me so kindly. I feel like there's a little bit of that energy going on.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it, but now I'm raising the question: you are now in a major metropolitan city. How does no one recognize you?
Yeah,
that is a good
Well,
question. Let's ignore
It's
that.
been 20 years.
Yeah, and people don't change.
Not like
they
he doesn't have 16 wanted posters around the place.
And a bunch of kids.
Someone talking about Digimon Twilight preparing to teleport.
Behind you.
And then the lock-in meme just plays in the
far more
background.
amusing than this fucking story. That
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kick you up the ass is hilarious. I can't even lie.
Okay.
I'm gonna kicketh you up at the ass.
My poop is going to go so far up, you'll be tasting poop.
Guys.
Go
The Manish were by far the loudest, most contrary people in the world, though they saw haggling and correcting others as a sign of strength and respect. The fact that everyone else did it in Maine meant that the most basic conversation degenerated into shouting matches. At least Leb could take a hint. Dalen sighed and walked to a tree that stood 2 meters from the edge, taking very small steps. Thankful for the windshield that he leaned back, trying to recover his breath. It didn't come. He needed a full fall's bed rest to recover from the trip he had just endured. He gazed out into the endless cloud-speckled sky. The bright orb that was the sun sat high, shining brilliantly off to his left. What an odd sentence.
Yeah.
The orb that was the sun. Why would you say that?
Just say the
Because
sun.
he needs to distinguish it from the cube that is the moon. And the dodecahedron
Cube
that
moon.
is the asteroid heading towards their... Wait, what?
Oh no! Look out!
Box falls, everybody dies.
So it's all come to this.
Dalen said softly, thinking back over his long life. When still young, he had endured the fourth night, and when the shade had risen up and cast darkness upon the land. During the night, he had been forced to kill his own parents when they had turned. Yes, we know this. You already said this. He came out of the night as a war hero. Sorry?
Re-explaining things.
Yep.
Yes.
He came out of the night as a war hero, being one of the survivors of the assault on the Shade's Nest. He tried to free the people in the wake of the war, striving to work with the old aristocracy. I know that. Blah, blah. He had seen his wife and young children murdered in front of his own eyes. He had led a rebellion against the oppressive ruling class, overthrowing them and becoming the new leader of his nation. He had built society and tried to better it. But he'd also killed kings and queens, men, women, and children, many with his own hands. He had destroyed cities, murdered millions, conquered nations, raped, ravaged, and oppressed the world. Dalen looked high into the sky and began to weep some of the most bitter tears of his life.
For the record, his rapes looked exactly like that one scene of Norman Bates having not Norman Bates, Bateman having sex and like, you know, flexing his muscles in the mirror. It's like, I'm doing this for the rebellion, for the betterment of my country. Yeah, that's exactly how it looked, because that's what he thought, because he's a fucking idiot.
I'm doing this to fight the system on some
Yeah.
Andrew Tate shit.
Yeah, it's a rape the populace to better the system.
That is the worst
Dude.
sentence I've ever heard.
Yeah, dude, we need. You're right. We need to slow down.
Oh,
We're gonna
don't worry.
still make
It's going to get worse. Alex Satakai says, angry video game nerd. Ass!
I was about to say, he would be all like, what was he thinking?
Oh, we need an edit of this.
It took a long time for Dalen's tears to dry.
Dang.
The plummet looked to have fallen nearly halfway between the land Dalen stood upon and the bottom image of the same landmass high above. Highfall was almost over, and people of the world, those that choose to spend their time during Highfall, would have been preparing dinner. Those few who lived during Lowfall would be arising about now. Dalen pulled his cloak shut and did up the large buttons running down its front. Still holding the small sunstone-lined box, Dalen opened it and took out the Darkstone with 2 fingers. I don't know why it's so hard for me to read this all of a sudden. Ugh.
It's because
story is boring.
the brain drain is taking effect now.
Yeah, apparently. He tossed the box aside. Holding the Darkstone, Dalen left the tree and hobbled to the edge of the continent, which stepped down in several unmatched sections, the ground having been carried off in chunks by wind, water, and storm. It was light, cursed hard to find an easy path to each lower section. Dalen even had to sit down and slide several times, which caused him great pain. At least with raised earth behind him now, there was cover from the wind that perpetually blew outwards from the continent. That was until gravity pulled the air down to join the transcontinental current. I think also what might be messing me up is that I'm reading from my TV, so the words are like so far away from my face.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that.
You gotta get that screen fixed.
I'm working on it. I have a screen that I'm thinking of buying. I just had to make sure that it was the correct screen that I needed.
I'm going to jump.
We love
Do a flip.
Do a flip.
You'll be able to do several before you know.
I mean, technically, he just do infinite tricks.
You know, if he jumped and then shoved the Darkstone up his ass, he could just flip forever.
Don't give him ideas.
No, I think he'd die of internal bleed.
I regret bringing
Okay, but am I wrong? He would still keep on flipping even after dying.
Yeah,
It'd be like Happy Wheel.
It's like that one copy pasta of like, when I die, they're gonna open my casket and I'm gonna be gone, and then the lights will go out and then they'll flash back on and my body will be hung from a ceiling lamp or a ceiling fan and it'll be swinging around saying Space Jam. Same energy.
He finally came to the very edge where no ground below him extended out further. At this place, Dalen could lean out and look down without anything blocking his view except the few clouds that hung in the sky, far beneath the continent. He could just see the same edge of the continent that he stood upon far below. If he had a powerful enough telescope, he could have seen himself from above, leaning out and looking down on himself and the whole world, except for the sun. The sun was an anomaly because it was the only thing not mirrored through the barrier. Its position was constant with respect to the observer, meaning the sun would look to be in the exact same angle and distance to one person as it would be to another who stood on the other end of the continent. It didn't matter if you tried to place yourself closer, as people attested over long voyages, it was always the same distance away. The position itself was based on the angle to which the sun sat in the sky, and its approximate distance placed it beyond the upper barrier of the world. This had led to the theory that the sun wasn't physically located within the universe, but that its light shone into the universe from the outside through its upper edge. Leaning back, Dalen stood for a time looking out into the sky. Countless clouds streaked the horizon. The farthest clouds had mirrored copies of themselves above and below, and went on for eternity, for at such a distance that the whole height of the world became a thin line.
Finally, the end,
Dalen said. With Darkstone in hand, he stepped off to fall to his death.
And the book ended there. The end.
Oh,
If
if only. If only.
Congratulations, everyone. We are now 7% of the way through the book.
Yay.
Almost to where I left off.
That part.
Stop, Dad.
Who's doing that?
Really?
Because I will slap you. Zero, don't even think about it.
Hey, I'm chuckling, man.
Chancla will not stop Dagger. Anyway,
What is it? The daggered chunkler.
Anyway, so this was painful to get through. There was so much needless description. Like everything was redundant.
So much repeating.
You could this is the least interesting place to have started the story. Quite frankly, like you could have started it like right here as he's jumping off the cliff, and it would have been a lot smoother. Or
Yeah.
here's the thing: you could have made an entire book about his revolution, his rise to power, his descent into cruelty and villainy. Like you could have made an
that
entire book about that, so that when he did end up dying and isekaiing himself into his own life as a whatever happens to him, then we have a base plate to work from to understand how bad he was and where he has to go. But we don't do either. Instead, we have it described to us. We get told that he had a change of heart from absolutely nothing, and he just exists. He's just extant. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Look, he just became a better person, man. All right.
I mean,
Listen,
honestly,
he
I
has
off the top of my head.
he has severe lapse in judgment. Okay, if he wasn't so old, he would have done an interpretive dance as an apology, like that one Instagram model did after assaulting someone.
Look, he just he just didn't.
Yeah,
I have
oh,
not
you
heard
didn't hear about that? You didn't hear
Like,
about
Raymond, the reason why he had to put it here was because we needed to get all the world building out of the way. Duh.
You don't do it now. You do it late. You do it when it's relevant. You could have described. Why didn't he describe the airships when he was on the airship? Give us description of things he was interacting with and doing at the time.
But Raymond, we need that time.
Too smart.
The most interesting thing so far about it is the world. I will give it that, because it is a very interesting vision for it. The idea of an ever looping like portal, effectively a spatially locked darkstone type item, and the freaking universe breaking sun, which by the way probably has so many implications. But
that is pretty cool.
It is so it's delivered so dryly and without any necessity to it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just it's got no substance.
Be honest.
I published my first
Shadow of
draft.
Conqueror.
I don't know. I don't know how you would have polished this into like it would have been a significant rewrite in order to actually make this more than a better like I can write a first draft and have it be relatively the same as the final draft, but like, a lot of word changes, sure, but
Same with me, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do need or require significant changes for their rewrites, though.
yeah. And that is absolutely needed more script doctoring.
I would say something else. I just feel like a lot of this world just does not add anything thematically to the idea of redemption.
Like, what do you mean the sun's not there? It's the sun! It's there!
No. Mirage.
Well, depending on
Drake. Where's the sun?
Okay. On that note, I have to wrap us up. I know it's a little bit earlier than normal, but we had a family emergency today. My family's exhausted, and it's going to be a rough week. So I want to make sure that I sign off here and let people have a rest where I'm not yelling and laughing. Celtic, you underestimate the power of the chancla. No, my sister's godmother is Hispanic. I understand the power of the chancla. Trust me.
Phoenix spears the chancla.
Individual to assist you.
Celtic, if you could check the arts real quick, there's a little surprise for you.
I'm scared.
Oh dear.
Oh wow.
Yes.
No,
I like how he's all a little merch.
I'm pressed.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Just
explaining everything to me. This is going to be the next thumbnail. This is absolutely the next thumbnail.
That has to be that.
100% perfectly fine.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Fit the height.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a good time. Remember, you can follow us here, and if you, by donating $1 or more to the Patreon, or by joining as a member here on YouTube, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, the Tundra, right here, where you can join us for these bad fanfiction nights and help support the rest. What?
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 Raking.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you all had a good time, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.